This is the chat trap. Hope you are having yourself an amazing day so far. I am Jamie, and I am keeping you updated with everything that is happening around the world while giving you that little bit of push of positivity and motivation that you need to get going with your everyday life. Now, with that being said, there's something very well. We haven't really got into such serious conversation thus far, but there's something that I do want to talk about, that I do want to keep you informed about, and that is the Atlanta shootings. Okay, so if you don't already know, on Tuesday, this week on Tuesday, an SUV had pulled up outside Young's Asian Massage Parlor in Atlanta, which is in a suburb of Acworth. Okay. So apparently, what had happened was this guy, who is a Caucasian man, had popped into um, one of the retailers of weaponry and bought a gun, a firearm rather, and surveillance camera footage had captured that the man was entering this Young's massage parlor at 4:54 p.m. Okay, but what happened after that is what's absolutely insane, because he went on a shooting rampage and actually killed or murdered many people, of whom were from Asian descent. Now, this is what I did want to talk about because, see, at the end of the day, the attacks in Atlanta are the latest in a wave of increasing assaults in the US and around the world, I believe, targeting Asians during the global COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. So, with the spread of the virus, the anti Asian hostility definitely has climbed, and facts and figures prove that this hostility definitely increased. And former president of the US, that is President Donald Trump, regularly referred to COVID-19 as a Chinese virus, which I believe did create a certain mindset in the people, and which I guess that started, or that set precedent to this Asian hostility, anti Asian hostility that has increased not just in the US but all over the world. Now, for over a year, Asians in America have been battling heightened sense of fear on top of disproportionate job losses and business closures during the pandemic. A recent Pew Research Center study even found that 58% of Asian Americans say that people more commonly express racist views towards their group since the pandemic began. Now, see, what the shooting rampage that occurred in Atlanta is just one of the few incidents that has been going around in the US. And that is why I did want to keep you updated and just, talk to you about this for a second. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, I feel like um see, even in America, the Asian population is growing vastly, and every single one of these individuals is contributing to the American economy, and we tend to forget this at times. Okay, what we tend to do is we tend to forget that at the end of the day, we all belong to one race, and that race is humanity. And we belong to the human race, and race, religion, what we look like are just social constructs at the end of the day, and that doesn't define us. That is definitely something that we celebrate as being a part of, but that definitely does not define what kind of people we can be, or what kind of people what kind of tendencies we can have. So those are things that we definitely need to end in our society, in today's society. And of course, keep aside all of this. Now, what I want you to hear, what I want you to be aware of, is if you are anti-racist, if you are against, everything that's been going on. We have so many celebrities that are speaking up against the Atlanta shootings. We have a celebrity speaking up, and they're voicing out their concern about what's happening. And if you are like them, and if you are wondering what exactly you can do in order to end racial injustice that is going on through the world, and if you're frustrated with the fact that there's so many racist comments and racist actions that are being thrown around on a daily basis around the world, well, listen, there are certain things you can do to help the situation. Now, I know when you hear the phrase racial injustice and racial injustice in today's society, it almost feels incomprehensible to solve, just because it seems like such a big thing, and it just seems like, that's basically not something that I can help. But see, what I want to tell you is there are certain things that you can do to actually better the situation, because I truly believe, I am a firm believer that at the end of the day, little actions surmount to a lot. So you changing a habit, you teaching your children to respect, at the end of the day is going to cause this cycle of change that we so desperately need in this world. So, okay, what are a few things that you could definitely do in your day-to-day activity? One thing I think is to choose to support racial justice every single day, not when it's Black History Month, or not on a specific day, but choose to support racial justice every single day of your life. Okay, what is racial justice? It is this systematic fair treatment for everyone, regardless of what they look like, regardless of their race, so that we could create equitable opportunities and outcomes for all. Okay. So, what I want you to do is to the people that you hang around with, the people that you associate on a day to day basis, make them understand this. Make them understand that at the end of the day, we all feel emotions. We all feel the exact same emotions. We all feel pain. We are all human beings, and a race is just something that is very surface level, and that doesn't define who we are. That doesn't define what opportunities that we deserve or do not deserve. So, what I want you to do is, how do you support racial justice every single day? Is make sure that you talk about these. I know these are not easy topics to discuss. You'd rather talk about a movie, you'd rather talk about, I don't know, a song that came out, but these are such important topics that we need to discuss, especially in today's day and age. Because, see, I feel like the wounds that we had in history, the wounds of racial injustice, the wounds of slavery and segregation, it's still not fully healed. And in order to heal, we need the participation of every single person in our community. So one thing you can definitely do is make people aware of the situation, have these difficult conversations, tell people that it is absolutely vital that they, treat everybody equally, and explain to them why it's important that we treat people equally. Because at the end of the day, see, no matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, we're all going to go away someday. We're all going to pass on. And when we do, what we need to understand is to make sure that the life we lived on this planet is worth it. Okay. And that is what you need to explain to people. Say that what race we belong to is, again, so very surface level, and there's so many other things that are important as opposed to race and religion or whatever. Obviously, see, again, that's two sides of the story. Be proud of your race, absolutely. Be proud of your roots, be proud of your traditions, but don't let that stop you from being nice to other people. Make sure that people understand this concept. If this is something that you are easily able to comprehend, use that power, use your power, use your platforms to speak up about this, so that systematically, we will make more and more people aware of this situation, that at the end of the day, every single one of us belongs to one race, and that race is humanity. Now, the second thing I believe that you can do is to educate yourself. A lot of us as human beings, we have this tendency of speaking up and voicing out our opinions, but we even don't know all the facts. So one thing that I do want you to do is to educate yourself. Read articles, read I don't know, blog posts, listen to people speak about their experiences, educate yourself about what's happening around you, speak to people of different races so that you understand what these people are going through. And when you do, then you come up with the opinion. So, see, again, like, I feel like I am guilty of this as well. Without knowing the entire situation, we tend to jump into conclusions, we tend to jump into opinions and form, a judgment of people. But consciously make an effort to make sure that that doesn't happen with you. Firstly, understand the story, understand everything, the context, the background of everything that's happening. Then you come up with your decision, okay? Then you come up with your opinion. That is why it's so important that you educate yourself, because it is an essential part of organizing for change, according to, well, every single person. And to bring about that change, we must educate ourselves. Every single person needs to have a proper idea of what is going on. And based upon that education, then you need to connect with other people who are doing the same thing, and they need to decide, how are we going to make this world a different place? So that to answer that question, first of all, we need to understand the basis of how racial injustice was formed in the first place, and what are contributing factors to this. When you do understand things like that, I guess it becomes so much easier to tackle the problem of racial injustice in itself. Finally, what I want you to do is to teach people around you. Now, I already spoke about this. Make sure that you teach your children to respect people for being people. There is nobody that deserves less or deserves more respect than the other. Every single one of us are amazing just because of the fact that we are human beings. And not all of us have the same opportunities. Not all of us were given the same luxuries, but that's okay because at the end of the day, every single one of us well, deserves rather the exact same amount of respect. And that is what you need to teach your children. If you have children or if you have kids that you associate, make sure that you teach them to respect people for the fact that they're human beings. And when we do that, I feel like if you could do one little change, I promise you that is what is going to create a global change. So start with you, start with yourself, start with people in your household, and then let's move forward to change the world. Now, that's what I have to tell you. Hope you are having yourself an amazing day so far. We have a lot more interesting content coming up, so make sure that you do keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio.